Happy Monday, everyone. My name is Connected. Welcome to your Star Citizen Weekly Update for August 17th, 2026. Before we begin, as this is the first time I'm doing a video like this, feedback is welcome and appreciated, so please post your thoughts in the comments below. Please be gentle. If this is your first time here, I stream live on both Twitch and YouTube, Tuesday through Saturday, starting around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So please feel free to come and hang out. And as I'm still beginning this adventure on YouTube, there is no sponsor this week, but I'm definitely in the market. As this is your weekly update for Star Citizen, we'll be taking a look at the past week's PTU patch notes, the roadmap update and roundup, the new monthly bundle for August that included exactly what we all thought it would, Friday's new sneak peek, and what we can expect this week coming up. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's get into it. First up, we got PTU patch notes, taking a look at everything that they did last week, inching ever so closer to 4.10 as most likely it's going live this week. Throughout the 4.10 PTU patch cycle, the focusing points for the PTU has been stability and bug fixes, of course, instancing and Siege of Orison, balancing hydrogen and quantum fuel, the Arlington lever action rifle, the adjacent Orison relief support event missions for Siege of Orison, the famed Recco Battaglia returning to Levski in an instanced mission giving, and even more updates for Wicklow. Taking a look at Monday's patch notes, CIG did optimizations to both instancing with the DGS and performance updates to the client to help with frame time and smoothing and getting that better under control. Moving to Tuesday's patch notes, there's nothing notably added to the patch. However, most of the bug fixes seem to be concentrated on ironing out the desync issues that we've all experienced, and unfortunately it's still happening in instancing, it seems. Moving to Wednesday's patch notes, very similar to Tuesday, there's nothing new added, but these bug fixes seem to concentrate fixing the DGS for the instancing, as well as fixing Recco's new story missions. However, in Thursday's PTU patch, new reward missions were given for Recco for both her story missions 1, 2, and 3. And not that I dive too far into VR, there was a fix added to help both eyes blink at the same time when running high G-forces. And now on to Friday's PTU patch. While I have been diving into a little bit of the PTU, I have been avoiding Siege of Orison because I want to experience that on live. But in Friday's notes, it seemed that Mendo was a little bit too accurate, and then if you combine that with the desync, I'm sure it was just overdone for some. But a balance was done to seem to lower his accuracy and firing behavior, and there was an update done to ASOP terminals to differentiate between claiming an insured loadout and a default loadout, which I think was a nice quality of life update. And in a surprise Sunday PTU update, there were further performance and optimizations done to instancing in Siege of Orison, this time changing how instances act, where the instance itself will not be closed until all players leave. Apparently prior to this, instances were only being cleaned up after a certain amount of time. So now, assuming all players leave relatively quickly, this should free up server resources faster after the mission is done. If you would have asked me at the beginning of last week when I thought 4.10 was going to drop, I would have definitely put money on Wednesday, August 12th. It is most certainly coming out this week, more than likely on Wednesday. Thursday at the latest. Internally, CIG decided to push it another week to this upcoming week, of course. Can't be mad at them because it just gives them that much more time. Hopefully make it work correctly when it does drop this week. Moving on to the roadmap update and roundup that we got on Wednesday, giving us insight to what CIG has planned for 4.11 in September, and I think a lot of us have been looking forward to this since Nyx was put into the PU last year. Nyx 1 is a coreless planet that orbits closest to the sun in the Nyx system. Once considered impossible to terraform, Nyx 1 has undergone a drastic transformation thanks to new experimental technology developed by Genesis Terraforming, and now features a robust ecosphere capable of supporting a wide diversity of life. Reading Starkitect Mission Pack implementing new sandbox missions across sprawling planetary locations designed to keep players planetside for longer with a focus on more localized objectives. We're finally getting Planetech V5, otherwise known as Genesis, complete rework of how planets are built, populated, and rendered. Introducing emergent biomes driven by realistic physical properties and scattering plants and rocks according to their natural behavior, reworking terrain, shading across materials like sand, dirt, rock, and snow, and moving generation and spawning to the GPU to support denser environments with improved rendering performance. Implementing Starkitect, a new procedural world-building system that automatically scatters sectors, clusters, and locations across planetary bodies while constructing locations from modular tires. Using Genesis data to identify suitable placement for game objects, Starkitect introduces a new workflow for populating planets and building large-scale locations across an expanding universe. Implementing the Population Manager tech, with the primary goal is to load balance and server population and create inhabitants appropriate to their local environment, while enabling more complex interactions between agents focused on a dynamic context. And just like every other planet or moon, it needs places to go to for players to explore. Which brings us to points of interest. Implementing new ground locations owned by various factions, offering a variety of procedurally generated combinations of building compositions. These will support a wide variety of mission archetypes and gameplay loops. Also potentially coming with 4.11 in September is a new set of heavy combat armor that looks, to me, like it's just a larger version of the Tetsudo armor. Further character customization updates where we can now customize our eyebrows. 2 new weapons including an LMG and a pistol, both from Castech Arms. The Verdict LMG being a medium-range weapon that builds heat through sustained fire before unleashing devastating superheated plasma projectiles projectiles with its alternate fire mode. Sounds very similar to a Volt weapon to me. The new Hellion pistol from Castec Arms, that is a plasma pistol with a high-velocity plasma weapon that creates hazardous impact zones, allowing operators to rapidly deploy multiple areas of denial across the battlefield. Now, the new pistol seems interesting to me, and I can't wait to get my hands on either of them in the PTU. And closing out the roadmap update, Wicklow's getting another ship, the Tiburon, with its own loadout and ship paint. And now moving on to the new monthly bundle for August, we got the Steel Tech bundle, which is exactly what we thought it would include. The full set of super heavy armor, including the backpack and the HMG. It also includes paint for the Asgard, which all in all, I do really like the paint, as I do really like the Asgard. But as with every monthly bundle, it is of course war bond, so you'll have to use real money and you won't be able to use store credit to get it. And now taking a look at the sneak peek from Friday's newsletter, if I'm being completely honest, I have no clue what this is. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. But the tagline here is hot or cold. Is it a space microwave? I have absolutely no idea. But looking at the picture, you have heat emission up at the top, and then you have activate cooling with a push button on the bottom right hand side. Usually, given things that we know that are upcoming because of leaks here and there, you can generally guess what it's going to be. But this time around, I got nothing. And there's your Star Citizen Weekly update. I appreciate your time. Yeah, I'm gonna do the thing. If you made it this far, you might as well hit that like and subscribe button, as it helps me out. And as a reminder, I'm live Tuesday through Saturday on both Twitch and YouTube, starting around 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'd love to have you come by. Links in the comments below. Once again, this is the first time I'm making this kind of content, and I'd love to have your thoughts. Post them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.